While we wait to complete the field in February, it's time to rank the 9 teams who have already qualified for the Concacaf W Gold Cup for next year's competition. Guys, Matty G back here with you on Football with Flags. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's get to it. We'll get right into it. In Group C, it's Paraguay, ranked 50th in the world, coming in on our list at number 9. They've had 7 appearances in the Copa America Femenina, and they finished 4th in 2022, lost to Brazil in the semifinals, but at least getting to the knockout stages automatically had them qualify for this competition. And while they had a good run in that tournament, they missed out on the 2023 World Cup due to an Interconfederation playoff loss to Panama 1-0. Coming in at number 8, it's Costa Rica, who are also in Group C, currently ranked 43rd in the world. They had a runner-up finish in the 2014 Concacaf Women's Championship, their best to date, and they did qualify for the 2023 World Cup, but only scored a goal in the group stage in their finale against Zambia as they lost all 3 games. But they bounced back impressively here this fall, defeating Haiti in their qualifying group to automatically qualify for this competition. And we all know how well Haiti performed and put on a pretty decent show in the World Cup back this past summer. And it really came down to goal differential. Both sides had 9 points through their qualifying games, but Costa Rica get the edge with a plus 30 goal differential, while Haiti had plus 24. And a big part of that was due to their 19-0 win over St. Kitts and Nevis. Coming in at number 7 on this list, it's Mexico out of Group A, currently ranked 35th in the world. They've missed the last 2 World Cup cycles, last qualifying in 2015. They did, however, though, cruise through qualifying for this competition to get into it. They are 2-time runners-up of the CONCACAF Women's Championship, and from what I can tell, I don't think they've lost a single game in 2023, which is fairly impressive because they've had a lot of games on their calendar this year. They do have a decent amount of youngsters on this roster as well, with not a ton of caps, so it'll be interesting to see how this team fares coming up next year. At number 6 on the list, it's Panama in Group B, currently ranked 55th in the world. Their best finish in the CONCACAF Women's Championship was 2018 with a 4th place finish. They did make it, though, in the 2023 World Cup, as we told you before, beating Paraguay in that Interconfederation playoff to advance for the first time ever. They had a decent run in the group stage, had a really close game with Jamaica, but unfortunately lost 1-0 in that game. However, they did score their first ever goals in a World Cup finals against France, a 6-3 loss in that competition, with Marta Alexandra Cox scoring in the 2nd minute to give Panama their first ever World Cup goal. They did, however, though, get their payback against Jamaica in the qualifying group to advance to this competition. And just so you know, again, Jamaica didn't even get to a playoff spot, so they are totally eliminated from this competition. Meanwhile, Panama get their payback, put up some really good results this fall. I'll be honest, I thought that they would be the team in the playoff and Jamaica would automatically advance to this tournament, but Panama have proved me wrong and done very well so far to get to this point. Moving on to number 5, it's Argentina in Group A, currently ranked 31st in the world. They have 4 World Cup appearances, no knockout stage appearances, though, throughout their time. They were the 2006 Copa America Femenina champions, and they really didn't have all that bad of a showing in the World Cup this past summer, but they just couldn't put some of these results together. They were very competitive, got off to a slow start against South Africa, wound up coming back to tying that game, but just never could really get off on the right foot in that tournament. And I think they were really expecting to at least maybe get to the knockout stages. Unfortunately, failed to do so. And keep in mind, too, for this side, while they are in Group A, they have the United States and Mexico in that group. They've never defeated the U.S. or Canada before, and out of the 10 times that they've played Mexico, they've only ever defeated them once. Number 4 on this list, it's Brazil in Group B, currently ranked 11th in the world. They are the 2007 World Cup runners-up, 8-time champions of Copa America Femenina, and of course, champions of the most recent edition as well in 2022. This was the first time that they exited the group stage of the World Cup since 1995. Of course, Marta has retired as well. They've had some decent results here in the fall and in the winter. They defeated Japan and Canada, but they wound up losing to both of those sides in other friendlies as well. Again, we know they have a lot of experience, a lot of caps under their belt, some really great forwards A lot of talent moving the ball forward. It's just a question of how clinical can they be? Can they be steady going forward, but still be stern and strong in the back without conceding too many chances? We'll have to wait and see. Pia Sundhage, their former manager, obviously not there anymore. Arthur Elias has taken over this side, so it'll be interesting to see how his tenure starts here in March with this side. Number 3 is Colombia, 23rd in the world in Group B for this competition. Remember, they had a quarterfinal run, the farthest they've ever gone in a World Cup this past summer. They defeated Germany in the group stage. They're 3-time runners-up of Copa America Femenina, most recent, of course, in 2022, losing to Brazil in that final. And again, while we've seen a lot of great talent on this side, kind of make their way up the ranks in terms of just being noticed and how well they've performed. Of course, we can't forget Linda Caicedo, who has just become one of the faces of women's football all over the globe, not only for club football, but especially for me and, in my opinion, internationally as well, with what she's done for the Colombian national team thus far and to be at such a young age. The question for me, though, is can they win in big moments? We'll have to wait and see. Yes, they had a huge win against Germany in the group stage of the World Cup, but then they follow that up with a loss to Morocco in the final game of their group stage. So, again, I think we've seen this side put up some good performances against big heavyweight teams, especially this past year, but we'll have to wait and see how they can handle these situations coming up in March. At number 2 for this list, and again, I'm very curious to see how you guys handle this in the comments, especially with these top 4 in this list. I think are somewhat debatable in terms of where you'd like to place them, so I'm curious to see what you guys think in the comments section. But for this list, we have Canada at number 2 out of Group C, currently ranked 10th in the world. They finished 4th in the 2003 World Cup, their best finish ever. They're 2-time champions at the Concacaf Women's Championship, most recently of 2010. They obviously had a very poor performance in the World Cup this past summer, certainly not up to their standards. But they come back here this fall. They defeat Jamaica in the qualifier to automatically advance to this tournament and avoid qualification. And again, they had some poor performances in the World Cup, especially that 4-0 loss to Australia to end the group stage and get them eliminated. But they come back with some strong wins later this year. Just earlier this month, they defeated Australia 5-0 and 1-0 in a couple of friendlies. Now, granted, they were at home compared to being on the road or in different places playing that game like they were in Australia. But again, I think this Canadian side is on the up. I think, now that Christine Sinclair has finally left, maybe that's going to open the doors for some, other opportunity for players in different areas, especially going forward in the attack as well. Again, we have Canada at number 2, but I'm very curious to see what you guys think in the comments section where you would place some of these teams in your own list. And at number 1, we have the United States out of Group A, currently ranked 2nd in the world. They're 9-time champions of the Concacaf Women's Championship, most recent 2022. That is how they automatically qualified for this tournament, was through that title. I'm very curious to see, though, how well they compete after obviously such a disappointing run in the World Cup. We'll have to wait and see if there's any big roster moves as well. Obviously, we know that Emma Hayes has now taken over the managerial position for this team, but keep in mind, she's not set to start until May for this side, as she's obviously still with Chelsea. I'm very, very curious not only to see what type of moves she makes, but also just how well this team handles this tournament in March, since from what I can tell, obviously I don't think she'll be there for that. So it'll be interesting to see who makes the roster, who all plays, how much time they get as well. A lot of questions still to be asked, and also how well they'll perform. But keep in mind too, while again I think there's a lot still up in the air for this side, they did win against China 3-1 earlier, not long ago in a friendly. That 3-1, that was the first goal that they had given up since in the run of play since Netherlands in the World Cup of July. So keep that in mind. I don't know how many games it's been in between that game in July to up to this point against China, but still they've had some impressive victories since, and again looked a lot better defensively. So I think a big question still stands of, how well can this team go forward? Can they score goals in big moments and not put themselves in situations like we saw this past summer in this World Cup? Well, guys, as always, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and please let us know down in the comments your own list, how you would rank these teams. Again, I think there's a lot up for debate, especially those top few spots on this list, but that's what we've got for our list for the time being. We'll have more coverage on this tournament and more coming down the road, obviously. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Hope you all have a blessed day, and we will see you soon. Peace.